What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Lots of transfers to talk about today, and we'll look ahead to the game against Brighton as well. The Danny Welbeck derby, people, where we'll be looking to prove a point against Arsenal. And yeah, we're back again, people. Lots to talk about, lots of transfer rumours and news. And let's see who we are being linked with. I think there's a few names that you will expect to turn up. As always, big up to everyone for tuning in. Thank you for the great support on the watch-along the other day. We got great numbers on that for the first game back. Looking forward to the game against Brighton. Although, why would you make the game at 5:30 on New Year's Eve? You know, Premier League doing a madness. Wasim, I mean... Do you know what? I don't even feel apologetic for it. Before I was all like, get the Cronkes out, don't buy the merch. We're top of the league, people. You know, I'll meet you at the Armory, people. You know, I'll meet you at the Armory. I can't... we're top. If you ain't going to buy merch when we're top, you'll never buy merch. I have got the receipt just in case January doesn't look the way I hope it goes. 28 days, you know, on that 28th day, we can always get it in the wash, dry, and try and get the money back if things go horribly wrong. But for now, it's cold. I needed a new hoodie. The red Arsenal with the cannon. I'm here. You know me. Yeah, come on, man. I'm shameless with it, bro. I'm shameless with it. We're top of the league. I'll cop the merch, man. You know what I mean? I ain't hiding from it. We're the Mighty Gooners top of the tree, man. So it is what it is. In the cherry red, man. You know what I mean? It was too much. It was too much. Yeah, a little Christmas present. So, yeah, like I said, while we're flying, the merch can run. Curtis funding Arsenal so that we'll buy Mudryk and Felix. Yeah, why not? Why not, people? Keeping up with yours truly in the merch. I mean, if anyone don't know, Elliot is like the tie of Canada, you know. He's got like every shirt in every colour and every, you know what I mean, next day delivery. Curtis, the most shameless Arsenal fan. It's music to my ears, my friend. It's music to my ears. Looking like Santa Claus in an Arsenal hoodie, people. You know what I mean? The red was too much with the old cannon. Yeah, man, I'm with it, people. I'm with it. Jake said Haaland was on fire last night. I mean, Jake, let's be honest. When's the last time Haaland wasn't on fire? You know, he's like Fireman Sam, you know, non-stop fires, people. But do you know what was interesting about that game yesterday? He didn't even play that well. He missed a couple of absolute sitters, but he comes out of there with 2 goals. He should have probably scored 3 or 4. But as I said, people, he is a goal-scoring machine. He's a robot. He's going to break all the goal-scoring records. 20 goals. I mean, I think that 20 goals is the benchmark for any top-class striker in the Premier League across a whole season. This guy's got 20 goals. We ain't even in 2023 yet. If he stays fit for the whole season, I think you're looking at 40-plus goals in the league. You could be looking at 50 goals in all competition because he's scoring in the Champions League. You know, they're still in the FA Cup. I think, are they still in the Carabao Cup? He could get 50-plus goals. The crazy thing, and I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way and people understand what I mean by this, is to say he's such a top player, he doesn't excite me that much to watch him play. He is genuinely a robot. It's like he's a goal-scoring machine. Ivan Drago, you know, I must score goals, you know. He's not the most exciting. I do prefer Mbappe to him. But numbers don't lie, people. If he scores 40-odd goals, City win the Champions League, that propels him to a next level and you smash the Premier League record in your first season. Are you in the running for Big Six Extra? I haven't had no talks, Alex. I haven't... I think Turkish is presenting it, right? So I don't know. We haven't spoken about it. I got to be honest. Pat said 20 goals in 17 matches. Ain't it 14? I think they said 14, didn't they? Let me have a look. I thought they said 14 games. Premier League, 20 and 14 and 3 assists. I mean, 23 goal contributions in 14 games. He is absolutely Ivan Drago. But as I said, people, as I said, it has changed the way that Manchester City play because they spam a lot of crosses for him now. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a better team with him in it, but they've just got a goal-scoring machine there. You look at Arsenal. Aubameyang was winning golden boots. Ultimately, we was finishing 8th. Now we've got a striker who's probably not going to win a golden boot, obviously in Jesus, but we're in a title challenge. Sometimes it's about spreading the goals around the team rather than having one individual. Obviously, it's even better if you got the striker and then the others are chipping in as well. Big up Curtis Next Day Delivery Short and the C Unit. Big up your damn self, people. Why not? It's Christmas, people. Enjoy. Big up my brother Broads in the chat. Big up yourself, bro. Eros, I must break you. Ivan Drago settings, man. That still hurt me, what he did to Apollo Creed, man. If you know, you know, people. I know it's a film, but I was young when I first saw it. It hurt me, man. Ash said, big up Curtis. What do you make of the Shakhtar CEO starting? We are talking more than Anthony and more than Grealish. Well, we will get into Mudryk. Hold your Mudryk, people. Hold your Mudryk. We got lots to say on that. Big up Kamani in the chat, and somebody just said Haaland is boring. Anthony said, I hear you, Big C. Haaland has limited techers. Oh, techers, I don't know. Minimal to no skills or much flair. I agree with that. Yeah, he's an absolute goal machine. Not aesthetically pleasing in how he plays, but so effective. Listen, I want to make it clear about what I'm saying, just so there ain't no confusion here. He is an unbelievable goal scorer. And I don't care what anyone says, it's harder to score goals than anything in football. Strikers get the most money, they cost the most money, they're under the most pressure, but they get the most props. What he does is quite unique. He makes it look simple, but it's incredible. His movement is incredible for a player of that size. It's not a coincidence that 99 times out of 100 he's in space. His movement and his brain is incredible. But he's not somebody that I'm like, yo, I would pay money to watch Haaland play. I'm not in a rush to watch him. Do you know what I mean? He's a goal-scoring machine. I would much rather watch Mbappe, rather watch Messi, rather watch Neymar, you know, rather than him. But we'll see. We'll see him on the 15th at the Emirates. Let's make sure we handle him. But as a goal scorer, he's up there as the best in the world right now, if we're being totally honest, as a pure goal-scoring number 9. He is elite. People, listen, big up to everyone for tuning in. I'm shamelessly hearing the new merch, and we ain't even hiding from it, people. We're top of the league. It feels good right now. I feel good. Dancing to my reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, man. We're top of the league, people. Cherry red Arsenal shirt with a white cannon. It was way too much for me to say no to. As I said, 28 days return policy at the Emirates. If we lose a couple of big games in January, yes, I will fold it up nicely, clip those tags back on, and demand a full money back guarantee. I don't hide from it, people. We are shameless with no regrets. Beres had to come out. If you know, you know, people. Anyway, pull it. Anyway, let's move on, people. Let's move on. Let's talk transfers. We got beer transfers to talk about today. David Ornstein sending us into a frenzy on Twitter. Let's talk about it. So, let's build up. Mudryk and the man they call João Felix, people. Let's talk about them, because basically, your boy Ornstein is saying that we're trying to sign both of them, which is crazy for me, because I'm like, Daniel said, if Haaland is Drago, is Nketiah Apollo Creed? No. You see what Drago done to Apollo? We need to find the Rocky Balboa, you know. Adrian! We need that one. So maybe João Felix can be the Rocky Balboa. But David Ornstein has done, he was on ESPN, and he has come out and said that Arsenal are trying to sign Mudryk and João Felix in this window, which I find fascinating. Is Ornstein on the cap diet? But Ornstein is pretty good when it comes to Arsenal, because he works for The Athletic, and as we always say, The Athletic is one of the major mouthpieces of the football club. He's come out saying Arsenal feel like they can sign both of these players in this window if the numbers are right, which is just incredible, really, when you think that I would have said we need a centre midfielder and an attacking player. Can you imagine Arsenal buying a striker and a winger and maybe then potentially not signing a midfielder? Because if we were to sign those two, I don't really know how you get a centre midfielder as well. David Ornstein confirmed live on NBC Sports Arsenal have genuine interest in João Felix. He's somebody that Mikel Arteta would love to bring to the club. He's been offered to a number of Premier League clubs by his agent, George Mendes, including Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United. Any potential deal for Arsenal would have to see a reduction in the price, as he will cost £13 million for a 6-month loan, and Arsenal need to pay less to make that deal happen. So, I mean, João Felix and Mudryk, is it actually possible for Arsenal to sign 2 attacking players and potentially not sign the midfielder? Does that make sense? Does that imbalance us? Zach said, I'm buying the whole shop if we get those 2. It's crazy because João Felix, it says, has had a complete fallout with Diego Simeone. He even had a go at Simeone in one of his press conferences with the Portugal national team, stating that he's now able to play his proper game due to playing in a team with a genuine attacking style. Shots fired at his manager, Diego Simeone. I think, as I've said before, and we've spoken about this a number of times, Felix, there has to be an option to buy. You can't loan him and then he goes back. And also, there has to be a reduction in the amount that they want. They want £8 million plus £5 million in wages till the end of the season. £13 million with no option. If you can maybe say, right, we give you 4 or 5 million with an option to buy him at maybe 60, 65 at the end of the season, maybe there is an opportunity to get him over the line and get him in. I tell you one thing, I think João Felix ends up in the Premier League this January. All 3 of those clubs are going to be looking for him. Chelsea want a striker. They're obviously not totally happy with Aubameyang or playing Havertz up front. I think Aubameyang was more a Thomas Tuchel signing. He left, and obviously Potter doesn't completely favour him. I would expect, I mean, looking at it, you would expect him to go to Manchester United. Simply for the fact Ronaldo's gone. There's a massive space there for a striker. And I feel like Man United will make, it's easier for them to throw the money. We've seen United in the past, 90 million on Anthony, 90 million on Pogba, 75 on Lukaku. If they have to pay, they'll pay. And I think that they're probably the favourites. The only thing that could go in Arsenal's favour, to give you 2 bits on that, number one, there are a lot of reports saying that the Manchester United owners don't want to spend big money due to the fact that they are trying to sell the club. Why are you going to spend money on a team that you're trying to sell? Number 2, a lot of reports saying that João Felix thinks that Arsenal's style of football will suit him a lot more than Manchester United, which I think it would. If I'm João Felix, I want to play for Arsenal instead of United because we're playing better football. We're top of the league. We seem to have a long-term plan and solution. There's a lot of things going off at Manchester United that are a little bit unstable at the moment. What happens with a new owner? Would he want to keep Ten Hag? You don't know what's going to happen at the football club. So I think we still have an opportunity of getting him. And the fact that these owners at Manchester United may not want to spend could be interesting. The thing is, I saw a report with Liverpool. Why are Liverpool prepared to back Jurgen Klopp in this January window when they're selling the club? There is a belief that Liverpool are fearful that if they don't get Champions League football, a potential new owner would want to pay less money for the club. So they're saying that they've said, listen, sign a winger, sign a midfielder, guarantee top 4. Liverpool would be much easier to sell. Will Manchester United think the same in going for this as well? But it seems as if United are cutting costs at the moment rather than looking to expand on that. So João Felix, definitely the potential of him coming to Arsenal. I've said before, is he the perfect replacement? I'm not so sure. I do think he's a little bit lightweight for the Premier League. He's not the most physical, doesn't get big numbers in front of goal. But where I do like the option of bringing him in, I think he's very similar to Gabriel Jesus, and that he drops into those little pockets, works hard. I think his link-up play is exceptional, and I can understand why Mikel Arteta would like him. Can you imagine a front 3 of Saka, Martinelli and João Felix? Like the movement, the intensity. I think he is like a caged animal at the moment at Atletico Madrid. That defensive style of Simeone, I think, has really held him back. And I personally, as I've said many times, I would be heavily in favour of us signing him. Felix at Part A price range only. It's interesting that when Portugal played against Ghana in the World Cup, those two were speaking for a long time after the game. Was he saying, listen, man, get yourself to London. You'll enjoy it over it. Mikel Arteta's playing good football. Personally, I would love to see João Felix come to Arsenal on loan. Anthony said, talking of Liverpool, I can see Gakpo doing bits for Liverpool. And if they get Darwin Carroll on it, it'll be a problem. Yeah, with Darwin Núñez, I'm quite split. 50% of me thinks his pace, his power, and his movement tells me that there's a top player there and he's going to be really good. But on the flip side, if it goes on for too long, you're just another Timo Werner that's got great movement that misses chances. But I do think, I do still have this feeling that Darwin Núñez is going to be a good player. Goat Zima said, hi Curtis, big up, recovered from typhoid. I'm glad to be back, bro. Does Messi winning the World Cup end the GOAT debate? What do you think? Please give your opinion. As I said, for me, I think GOAT is always subjective to the generation that you watched. I didn't watch Pele or Maradona play live due to my age. So it's very difficult for me to name those two. But for me, Messi is the GOAT of the generation that I've seen. And you know I'm an R9 fan to the core. Brazilian Ronaldo is my favourite footballer of all time. But the longevity of Messi, I think for a 35-year-old to perform like that in a World Cup, you know, I've never seen that. I've never seen what Messi's done. So he is that. Yeah, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. There's no doubt about it for me. João Felix is still nearly 6 foot. Yeah, got the height, but is he physical? Can he handle the Prem? We'll see, but I think he's a clever enough player in that he drops into them little spaces and do what sort of Firmino was doing at Liverpool. So, João Felix, that's the first one. Let's talk about the second part of the same discussion, and that, of course, is Mudryk. I mean, when do we ever do a transfer show and not talk about this guy? We'll be talking about him till the end of January. He'll either be an Arsenal player or he'll be the new, you know, he'll go in that box again with, you know, Yanam Villa, Gonzalo Higuain, and all of the other players that we nearly signed over the years. Dylan said, big up Curtis, first time checking into the live stream. Do you think Mudryk would challenge Martinelli for left wing or be played through the middle? I think he's there to challenge, but also give us the opportunity to move Martinelli somewhere else if necessary. The problem I've got is that Martinelli is playing so well left wing. Does it actually make sense to move him? So maybe Mudryk would play central. Daily Muddy, man. Daily Muddy. I like your jumper. Yeah, you know. We ain't hiding from the merch. We're here, live and direct, people. Clement said, I'm optimistic we will get the Mudryk deal over the line as Shakhtar will lower their asking price and ask for Felix. I don't know if we can match Atleti's loan price, but if we do, I will be happy. I would be saying to Atletico Madrid, if you want 13 million altogether, you've got to give us an option and you've got to reduce how much he costs in the summer. So if I'm giving them 13 million in terms of wages and the fee, I'm saying, cool, you can get 13 million, but you're only getting 55 for him in the summer. That's a total of maybe 68, or you're getting 50 for him in the summer because I've paid you so much to take him on loan. So, yeah, man. Big up Ammo said, bro, he's been ill most of Christmas. Your live streams always make me feel better. Big up, bro. Get well soon. Broad said, Martinelli is good but very injury prone. We need to strengthen. Remember, we have Europa League to think about. I mean, is Martinelli injury prone? I don't really know. I think more injury prone in the sense that he gets kicked a lot. Because he dribbles with the ball so much. You watch Arsenal games, he's constantly getting smashed, you know, and fouled. But I don't think he's that injury prone, but we definitely need, you know, cover for him because he's one of these players that seems to give everything when he plays, and you need to be able to rotate him. Smith Rowe coming back as well. Connor, thank you for the super chat. Said, we said Vieira's strength wouldn't be enough, but he fits the pocket. Multi-positions plays like these are insane. João and Mudryk are a problem for show. And where I think I can point to a slight defence of João Felix with that kind of lack of strength, it was something that I used to point to with Martin Odegaard. I said Martin Odegaard is lightweight, but his intelligence and his footballing brain this season, if you can get into the right positions, make life difficult, you don't necessarily have to be the strongest. You can almost avoid that physical confrontation. You look at Man City last season; they won the Premier League with no out and out striker. They were playing Sterling up front and a man like Phil Foden. So yeah, I've had to do 30 seconds. We're in Edu mode, man. Big up. Listen, we got over 2,000 of you in here already. The comments are flying in, so I've had to slow it down. I don't want to miss too many of your comments. Dio said, yes, bro, still gassed how Gunners gave me a nice birthday present on Christmas Eve. Happy belated birthday. In beating the Hammers, currently watching you with a little sis. Big up the fam. Let's move on then. Let's look at part 2 of the so-called David Ornstein deal. You still say he's like, well, yeah, but he's got a bit more clever with it, you know. There's a story today in The Sun, Mark Irwin. His story is Shakhtar have already rejected Arsenal's offer of 35 million plus 17.5 in easily achievable add-ons for Milinkovic Mudryk, but Arsenal have already bid more and are now hoping to reach a compromise agreement by offering a guaranteed 45 million plus as much as 15 million in add-ons. So you're looking at a grand total now of 60 million. So Arsenal apparently adding around 7.5 million to the deal, plus a greater figure up front. Now, I've got to be totally honest, right? For me, this would be probably deal or no deal for me. And I don't mean the old TV program when Noel Edmonds on Channel 4. I'm talking, I would not be paying more than £60 million for this guy. And I think he's a good player. And I think he could do really well at Arsenal. But I'm looking at circumstances and I'm looking at what Gakpo has just gone for. And I don't think more than 60 million should be offered for him. Now, it's a risk because somebody else could come and sign him for 70 million and he could be a world beater. But no disrespect, you're talking about Shakhtar Donetsk. You're talking about a 21-year-old that is still relatively unproven. And we are the team in a position of power right now. We're top of the Prem. He's desperate to join Arsenal. We shouldn't be bowing down to Shakhtar. If they're not prepared to take that, I'd be saying, thank you very much. You stick with him then. It only takes one injury or one bad season, and he goes for half of that. Majid said, question, Spuds win the Champions League, Arsenal get Mudryk and win the Prem, or none of that happens? Nah. Us winning the Prem and then winning the Champions League, that can't add up for me under any circumstances. There's no way they can put that European star on their shirt before us. So we're all going, we're all collapsing if that's the case. But I want to know what you guys think about this potential offer. Would you be prepared to go higher? I think 60 million should be accepted. John Layat said, big up Big C, birthday today. Going to celebrate with some rum and chill with the family. Big up yourself, Mr. Danielson himself. Hope you're well. Have a good birthday, bro. LSU said, speak the truth. 60 million is top. I just don't think Shakhtar should be able to get more than that for him. A car park world beat. Oh, well, let's hope he's more than that. Subdued said, Zaha is in the Premier League. Run out form, immediate impact. I just don't think Arteta wants him. I don't think he careful. I don't think he wants Wilfried Zaha at all because of his age and the way. I just don't think he wants him. Jay Muller said, big up, Kurt. It's good to catch you live. Do you think Odegaard is on his way to being the closest thing we've had since Fabregas? Listen, I'm just going to say one thing. Cesc Fabregas, for me, is probably the best ball-playing midfielder that I've seen at Arsenal. I think he's absolutely outstanding. Santi Cazorla was up there as well, but didn't do it for as long. When we first signed Santi, we used to use him off the wing a little bit. Got better when he went into that deep-lying playmaker role. Cesc was different. 16 years of age, people. 16. Think about what you was doing at 16 years of age. You know what I mean? This guy was starting for Arsenal in the Premier League. How old was he? 17, 18? When we destroyed Juventus at Highbury against Patrick Vieira playing for them. He ripped him apart. Cesc is a whole different level, let me tell you. Cesc is world class. So yeah, I think Odegaard's got a long way to go. Odegaard's got to get to them Mesut Ozil levels. I think that's more the comparison in that 10 role. Cesc for me is like absolute different level. I genuinely think he's unreal. As I always say, the Arsenal-Tottenham game, when he got the ball from the halfway line, I was at that game. It's one like I've never seen a stadium do what it did when he scored that goal. It was insane. He went mad, jumped in the crowd. Oh, mad, wild. Odegaard got signed by Real Madrid at 16. He wasn't starting. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Cesc is like Premier League legend. But listen, you know, time will tell. He's got the time. Yeah, the Emirates, mate. Oh, I mean, there wasn't a roof, but I thought the roof was going to come off. And don't forget, this is a guy who threw pizza at Sir Alex Ferguson. That alone takes you to a whole nother level for me. You threw a pizza at Fergie, bro. That makes you an icon in my eyes. I just want to show you the second part of this story, by the way, regarding Mudryk. I've got to be honest with this whole Mudryk scenario now. I'm kind of like, just sign him or move on, man. Like, Liverpool got linked with Gakpo. By the end of that evening, he was flying to Liverpool for a medical. Like, just get this guy signed. Get it done. Odegaard was a great steal. He wants to stay for several years. Cesc was throwing pizza at Fergie. You know what I mean? There's levels to this thing, man. But let's give him his chance. Top player, but Cesc is iconic for me. Arsenal want Shakhtar Donetsk to set a more realistic asking price for Mudryk. They are pointing to Cody Gakpo's move to Liverpool for 37 million, rising to 45 as a guideline. And this is what I keep saying. This guy who owns Shakhtar keeps talking about Grealish and Antony as, oh, you know, they cost 90 million, 100 million, and Mudryk is as good as them, so we want 100 million. Listen, relax yourself. Yeah, relax. Let's look at the circumstances. Antony is a Brazilian international signing for Manchester United, right? Man United overpay for the majority of their players. He plays for Brazil. He's ripped it up for a year or two. He's going to cost a fortune. Jack Grealish, English tax, Premier League tax. Manchester City were buying him. Of course, the price is going to be massively exaggerated. Mudryk ain't going to cost it. You ain't getting 100 million. You have to take 100 million Jamaican dollars if you want 100 million. That's the only 100 mil you're getting. Take 60 million and wish him well on his way. They should be happy to get 60 million pound for a player that's probably had one good year. So I don't know where they're going with this. I get it. It's business. If I'm the owner of Shakhtar, I'm turning around saying, yeah, man, 100 million is as good as Antony. Yeah, I get that. But it's not realistic. And what Arsenal need to do now is put them in a position where you need to understand what his value is and what you need to take for him, because you can sit there and say, oh, yeah, we want 100 million. But as I said, it only takes one bad season and this guy's going to RB Leipzig for 18 million plus add-ons. It happens. We've seen it happen. I've seen big players who are worth a fortune. Next minute, they quietly disappear off the scene. I think 60 million, they should be biting our hand off for 60 million. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Man said, leave Yard out of this. Yeah, listen, man, 100 million Jamaican dollars. That's all they can take for him. And I know that damn well ain't 60 million pound in English money. Look at our. You're right, our. 50 million for our. Leon Chairman, nah, he's worth 60, 70. The man's out of contract in 6 months. He nearly signed for Nottingham Forest in the summer for about 12 million. It happens, man. I want 50. You should have took 35, 40, and then, yeah, man. But carries the same risk as Pepe, does to a certain extent. But you've got to understand with Arsenal at the moment, right? And I say this all the time. Arsenal are in a situation now where, because of the market, when a player hits their absolute, like, when they hit a certain level, if the big boys, and not that we're not a big boy, because we are, but if certain big boys come in for them, we can't get them. As a prime example, Jude Bellingham. Everything about Jude Bellingham, Arsenal should be trying to sign him this summer. Young, quick, quality on the ball, box to box, scores goals. He would be incredible next to Thomas Partey. But he's reached a level now where Real Madrid are saying, maybe we'll sign him. Liverpool want him. Manchester City want him. Therefore, we can't win that race. I always refer to the runner in lane 8 in the Usain Bolt 100 metres. He was just there to make up the numbers, to try and get a personal best. But he was never winning a medal. So Arsenal sort of have to buy a player before they reach that point. Like Mudryk. They obviously think Mudryk can go to really, really high levels. But if Mudryk goes to somebody else and rips it up even more, and he's a £100 million player and Madrid want him and City want him, we can't get those players. That's the harsh reality of the situation. We've got to try and buy players when they're just below that world-class bracket and try and take them to that level at Arsenal. Until we're in the Champions League again for a number of years, that's when we can go and sign our Bellinghams and things like that. It's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you have 5 years in Europa League, when you have 15 years plus without winning the title. That's the reality of the situation. So it's a gamble. It is a gamble. It is. And as I said, it's a deal that I'm a little bit apprehensive about, but I think at 60 million, you stop there, say that's a fair offer. If you're going to take it, then take it. I think the deal will happen. I keep saying it. I think Mudryk becomes an Arsenal player in the next few weeks. In the next maybe week or so, I think we'll get close to that deal. Chris Clark, thank you for the super chat, said, way too much money for a kid playing in the Ukraine. Tell the owner to take a hike. The problem you've got a couple of problems with this. Number one, they've sold players like Fred for 50 million, right? He's seen as the golden boy of Ukrainian football. And I've seen people saying that this is going to be the biggest Ukrainian player since Andrei Shevchenko. And look at the levels he went to. If they're selling Brazilian players for 50 million, if they've got one of their own who's considered a golden boy, they're going to ask for way over 50 million. But Arsenal need to be smart and look at the fact he's so desperate to sign for us to reduce that price. We'll see what Edu's about. I've said many times, Edu has never really had to negotiate too much. If you look at even the Manchester City players that we signed in the summer, Sterling went for 45 million. Jesus was always going to cost around the same. 1 year left on his deal. Zinchenko a little bit less because he's a left back, not an attacking player. So he was going to be a little bit less. Now he's really got to negotiate with somebody. So we'll see what he's about now. 60 mil for me would be the maximum I would go to. I just want to add the third part of this before we move on from Daily Mudryk. He's twerking again, people. He's twerking. The single ladies. Oh, the single lady. He's twerking again, people. Destiny's Child's at it again. I mean, can you imagine? The chairman is saying 100 million. So what does Mudryk do? He goes on Instagram and puts a picture up of transfermarket.com. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but on the right-hand side there, it's the valuation of Mudryk according to Transfermarkt. Let me zoom in on this, right? Transfermarkt states Mudryk is worth 40 million euros, which is probably less than what they think. Mudryk, 20 minutes ago, tweets a picture and puts it on his Instagram saying, basically, I'm worth 40 million euros. So what the hell are you asking for 100 million for? I have honestly never seen a player so desperate to sign for Arsenal. I almost think you're scamming me at this point. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's outside the Emirates in a tent just waiting for the deal to happen. Man's telling you how much he's worth. I love it. I feel like I can't wait for him to sign for us. He is definitely part of the Curtis Shaw community. He is shameless with it. And he's not even hiding it. Man's putting out pictures saying how much he's worth. And what did man even put the... I can't believe this guy. Honestly, if he doesn't sign for Arsenal, I'm pretty sure they're banning him from Shakhtar because he's disrespecting their fan base hard. But yeah, get him to the carpet. That brother is thirsty for Arsenal. He might have to put a transfer request in and just go mad. Go on strike. Do what Van Hooijdonk did years ago. But yeah, if he doesn't end up at the carpet after all this, I've never seen anything like it. But what a turnaround, people. 12 months ago, Vlahovic was ignoring our calls. Now we're being stalked at work. You know what I mean? By Mudryk. How things have changed, eh? We had a good summer, people. We had a good summer. He better be good after all this. I mean, can you imagine? All this Mudryk, 60 million, all this twerking for us. And we've got, he better be a serious baller. He better be a serious baller, man. Yeah, at this point, he's ready to terminate his own contract. Free the mud. Let him out the mud, man. Let him out the mud. The brother's ready to just play for Arsenal and just... I think Zinchenko must have had a major part in this. Don't know if anybody saw Gakpo's interview, but he was talking about Virgil van Dijk and the impact that he's had on him signing. And I think that this is a similar one with obviously being the Ukraine captain. I think Zinchenko has obviously, talked him into it. He's close to assaulting us, Big C. Stalking event. I'm telling you, the man's going mad. Think this, Arsenal and Shakhtar are just messing with us. I believe this deal is already concluded. I hope so. Big up Rambrew said, Curtis, I'm listening from South Sudan. Big up, brother. Elliot said, free Muddy. Free him, man. Let him out the mud, man. But that's the end of the Mudryk talk for today. I think we are getting closer to a deal is what I can say. The actual owner of Shakhtar even put an interview out yesterday confirming that the clubs were still in talks about a potential deal. So I think it's going to happen. Tom Ruddy of The Times also, just finally, before we move on, I just saw this one. Tom Ruddy saying here, who is a decent writer for The Times, saying negotiations between Arsenal and Shakhtar over a deal for Mudryk continued on Thursday. The North London club are optimistic that a deal with the Ukrainian side can eventually be reached. Arsenal are confident personal terms will not be an obstacle. Personal terms were never going to be an obstacle. He's on 28 grand a week. I mean, I think Gunnosaurus earns more than that. We're paying 70 grand a week to Cedric and 50 grand to Mohamed El Neni. It's an easy deal to get done. But make sure we don't get ripped off, man. Make sure. Arsenal might need to put a restraining order out. Big up my bro Hakeem, I'm telling you. We have to get this deal over the line or we look stupid, really. Let's move on. Plenty of transfer gossip to talk about today. This is one that excites me. I hope this happens. But we're going to talk about Milinkovic-Savic, people. Rumours coming out of Italy that Arsenal are back in for Milinkovic-Savic. Corriere dello Sport in Italy say Arsenal are in pole position to sign Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio. They will mostly turn up in June for the midfielder, and the club want 40 to 50 million euros. Savic now sees Arsenal as an attractive option due to their form. After reading the whole thing, though, it does say that Arsenal may inquire for him in January as well. So Milinkovic-Savic only has 18 months left on his contract. At one point, they were asking for £100 million for him, but he rejected the new deal in the summer, and it's now believed that Lazio are resigned to selling him and don't want to miss out on a significant transfer fee for Milinkovic-Savic. It even goes on to say, after reading the whole thing, as you can see at the end there, it said, Savic now sees Arsenal as an attractive option due to their form. It's believed that he wasn't convinced by Arsenal last season when apparently we inquired about him. He now sees us as an attractive option. I told you, we had a very good summer, man. You know what I mean? We had some surgery done in the summer. Now everyone likes the look of Arsenal, right? But for me, this would be a great signing. I've said for a long time, we need a long-term Granit Xhaka replacement. That's no disrespect to Granit Xhaka and his form, but he's not the long-term solution. He turns 30 next year. You're going to need somebody else moving forward. That's the reality, you know. Liverpool have just signed Gakpo whilst they've got Firmino, they've got Jota, they've got Nunez, they've got Diaz. You can't sit there and have, you know, they're talking about getting rid of Bobby Firmino, who's been a bit of a legend at Liverpool. There's no time for sympathy in football. This is how teams get to the top and stay at the top. For me, Granit, you're having a great season. I would still have no problem buying an upgrade or at least sufficient competition for him next season. Let's get a poll. Would you sign Milinkovic-Savic for 50 million? I personally would. I think he's a very good player. Big, strong, scores goals. And I think he'd suit the Prem. Him and Thomas Partey for me. He's 27 years of age, for people asking his age. Scored 11 goals and 11 assists last season. This season so far, 14 games, And he's got 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 goal contributions in 14 games, and obviously played for Serbia at the World Cup. 1 goal in 3 games. Turned into a more attacking player over the past couple of years. I think he would be a fantastic upgrade on Granit Xhaka. I really do. I think he has more to his game. He's strong. He's the Lazio captain. And it would be very, very interesting. A lot of people saying, would the deal happen due to the Serbia-Albania issues with Granit Xhaka being Albanian-born? But surely, I mean, I don't. Would Arsenal look at something like that as a potential problem? It's interesting. I saw an interview with Lacazette when Lacazette was at Arsenal with Aubameyang, and he was saying that him and Aubameyang didn't like each other. Not because they knew each other and they'd fell out, just due to the fact that Aubameyang played for Saint Etienne and Lacazette played for Lyon, south of France rivalry. They didn't get on with each other. They were rivals. So he was like, when they was at Arsenal, he didn't think the two of them would get on. Would they allow this? Would this be a problem? I don't know. I don't know if this... Does this bother people? Do you think this would become a problem? Keep it on the pitch, says Laysbon, the politics. Surely they could be professional enough. I would imagine there have been times where Milinkovic-Savic has played with an Albanian-born player, or surely they must be able to deal with this. Granite's in the building, he said. You're going to replace me with this guy. Disgusting. No, man, it's business, my friend. It's business. Savic is overrated. Don't even think he suits us. McAllister would be perfect. I think the nation beef would be deeper than that, but they are professionals. Ben said we need to hear that we've actually bought someone. I'm telling you. Do you know what? The January window hasn't opened yet, Ben, but I'm feeling a little bit like, yo, Arsenal need to announce a signing next week for me. I can't lie, people. I'm not really prepared to sit down for the next 30 odd days of January talking about players we're being linked with. I need to see players holding up the shirt. I think we need to get a signing in early. I saw, so Cody Gakpo is already training with Liverpool, and it's not even the 1st of January. Deal done. He's in training, and it's not even January. We're challenging for the title. I'm not trying to see Mudryk sign for Arsenal on the 30th of January. I want to sign him by about the 2nd or 3rd of January. I'm telling you, the patience ain't there this year. I want us to win the league. I ain't messing about this year. We got Man United and Tottenham in the middle of January. I need at least one new signing in for those games. Stop messing about, Edu. Get these deals done quick. 100% C, bring someone in quick, said Tom. Assassin said, Benfica president Rui Costa, we don't want to give up Fernandes in January, but we are willing to please the boy in the event of 120 million euros offer. Crazy money, but he is a top player. Heaven Angel said, facts. Arteta wants it done early. January 1st, I want a medical, 100%. Someone's got to be doing a medical. I want the medical before January 1st. I can't lie. Wolves said, Mateus Cunha, Brazilian striker, is training with Wolves as well. Of course, we can use him as well just for the Villa game, 4th of January. Yeah, these men have got players in training that have been signed, and the window's not even officially open. So it is the same Rui Costa, broads. It is. Absolute icon, AC Milan icon, man. What a player he was, by the way. I was a big... AC Milan was my team, I can't lie, in Italy. Rui Costa was unbelievable. Yeah, a lot of reports, people. I mean, there's 2 reports, just by the way, on Caicedo at Brighton. Majority of the reports are saying that Liverpool are in pole position to get him in January, but there is a report linking Arsenal with us as well, but I don't think it's a particularly good source. So I'm not even going to get too deep into that one. But yeah, Milinkovic-Savic for me would be a great signing. Some people said he's not the quickest. He isn't, but I think because of his ability on the ball and because of his power and his shooting, I think he would offer us something that we don't have. Real physical presence as well as goal-scoring potential next to Thomas Partey. You're talking about a real powerful midfield there. Mundo Deportivo, Arsenal, Man United and Chelsea deem Atletico's demands too high. João Felix preferred destination is to join Arsenal. Let's see, people. Anyway, let's move on from Milinkovic-Savic, and I've ended the poll. What did we have? 77% of you said you would sign him, 23% saying no. So I think the majority of you would take him. But we need to get deals done. Mudryk will be in the stands December 31st at the Amex. Let's hope so. Let's hope so, man. Renel said, we shouldn't be overpaying for Mudryk. Make a final offer. Tell them to take it or leave it. No other clubs after him. No one will meet Shakhtar's stupid valuation. That's how we got to go on. Sometimes when you want to buy something, you've been there. You've walked through, them shops before. You make an offer. They say, no, no, no. You walk off. They say, come back, come back. We got to do that to Shakhtar. You want 60 mil? No, we want 100. All right, cool. We're off, yeah? We're going. Cool, we'll leave it. And see if they call us back. If they don't call us back, we'll find a solution elsewhere, people. There are a lot of players on the market this January. I don't think we need to... we don't need to act desperate to sign Mudryk. We can get a lot of good players. So Mudryk will be the kit man. He'll probably sneak into the stadium somehow. He's that desperate to be there. But listen, it's all good. It's all good if he ends up at the club. Right, more transfer news to talk about, people. More transfer news. And a player we've spoken about a couple of times. And I've got a feeling, for some reason, that this one is lurking in the background. I don't know why. I just have this feeling. And that is Ferran Torres. Now, the reason I think this deal could be lurking in the background, I've got a couple of reasons. Number one, we had an offer rejected for him on deadline day that came out a couple of weeks after. So that tells you straight away that Arteta likes him. Me personally, I'm not overly convinced by Ferran Torres. I've said this time and time again. I think he's a bit flimsy for me. I'm not fully convinced by him. But what you have to understand is that Arsenal are going to look at alternatives if they can't get Mudryk. And I don't think they're going to want to break the bank to get him in. Now, they might look at it and think, well, if 60 million gets rejected for Mudryk and he's going to cost 70, 80, and you can get Ferran Torres for 43, this could be a player that they go for. Don says Torres is better than Mudryk. Still a bit early for me to tell. I honestly don't know how good Mudryk is, to be honest, at the moment. I'm just not fully convinced with Ferran Torres. Story coming out of Spain. Arsenal is interested in the signing of Ferran Torres for the winter market. The English club would be willing to offer £43 million for the player. Now, where this deal, I think, is coming a little bit more to the surface that it could be possible. All the rumours that I was reading and things that I've seen is that Barcelona need to sell one attacking player. They have to get one out the door. Their wage bill's too high. They've been knocked out the Champions League. They feel they have to get rid of one of their attackers. Lewandowski's on massive money as their main man. They've signed Rafinha. Dembele got a new contract. Ansu Fati's considered a star of the future. It was Memphis Depay or Torres. There's now reports coming out that Memphis Depay is not willing to leave in January. I think Memphis Depay is probably saying, listen, 6 months left on my deal. I'm going to leave for free in the summer, get a massive signing on fee, massive wages, and go on a free, which I don't blame him. I think you're going to see more and more players do this as time goes on. Big up man like Premsy in the chat. Hope you're well, my bro. Make sure you go and subscribe to his channel as well. And we link up soon, bro. So it sounds as if Memphis Depay saying, listen, you ain't selling me with 6 months left on my contract. I'm going to walk in the summer and get the big signing on fee. I can understand that. So that leaves Torres. It's believed he could be the guy now that Barcelona are willing to sell. I'm putting it out there. I don't like Ferran Torres. I don't think he's a bad player. He's one of them guys, he pops up with a goal. Scored a few goals for Spain as well. I just don't know about this guy. I can't lie. He's not as good as Martinelli or Saka. He has played central at times, which is where I think it could appeal to Arteta. He's ex-Man City. Pep's probably bigging him up in the background. It just seems like one of them deals to me. I could see Arsenal signing him. We seem to love signing ex-Manchester City players. Pablo Mari was a Manchester City reserve player, right? Douglas Luiz was a Manchester City reserve player. We signed Zinchenko. We signed Gabriel Jesus. From what I've heard, Arsenal were looking at Raheem Sterling. But apparently he wouldn't go to a club who weren't in the Champions League. I just think this deal, if Mudryk doesn't happen, I can see this deal coming to fruition. And I wouldn't be like saying, oh, he's not a terrible player. I wouldn't be saying, oh, he's rubbish. But I certainly wouldn't be excited. I'm going to put the second poll out of the day. As I always say, people, more polls than a strip club. Would you sign Ferran Torres for £43 million? Like I said, and I know I'm banging a drum here that doesn't need banging, but I would seriously rather sign Wilfried Zaha for 20 million than sign him. I just don't. Johan, honestly, that's how I look at him. He's a nearly man to me. He's just one of them nearly man. You're a decent winger who did all right in the Prem. You're a bit lightweight. You get 7-8 goals. There's nothing that excites me about Ferran Torres, but it is what it is. And 43 million, just it's a no from me. But it wouldn't surprise me. I think it's an easier deal to get done. He's played in the Prem. He'll know Arteta. He can play up front a little bit. Mustafa's gone. He's just gone all out. He said, don't be nice, see. Ferran Torres is complete trash. City didn't want him. Barca didn't want him. It would be awful if we sign him. I think you've got to put a red flag on a signing. When Pep sold him to Barca, I didn't put a red flag on it because I thought to myself, probably he wants to go back to Spain and play for Barcelona. Maybe he said to Pep, let me leave. Cool. But then Barcelona saying, oh, we'll sell you back to the Prem. That is serious red flags. I'm just looking at his stats. I mean, at Man City, he was only there he was there for a season and a half, which is crazy. He's only 22 years of age now. First season, 7 goals. The second season, he only played 4 games, got 2 goals in half a season. Last season at Barca, 14 starts, 4 goals, 4 assists. This season, 9 starts, 2 goals. It's just not happening for him. He had a decent World Cup, got 2 goals in 4 games, but it's a no for me. Honestly, I don't want nothing. People saying he's the Morata of wingers out of Spain. Stop the negotiations, too much baggage. He's flopped at Barca. He's a bench player. Pep is good, really looks after the man then with these transfers. Pep brought him in from Valencia, said, listen, you're not that good, but I'm going to get you a move to Barca and then wash my hands of you. Ferran Torres is the next Morata, not impressive at all at Barca. GA said he got bullied in the Prem. You can only survive here if you have the PMP and tech, pace and power. Look at Sancho, no pace and power. Torres, good player with tech, but fullbacks will eat him alive. I agree. I just don't want him. I would not want him. Big C, we doubt the signing of Ben White, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu. Look at them now. It's a good point. But you know what it is? I feel like with them guys, it was a blank canvas. So the pressure wasn't there. The pressure was there because we'd signed them, but there was nothing previously to kind of judge them off at the top level. Ben White had come from Brighton, Tomiyasu from Bologna, Ramsdale from the Championship. Ferran Torres is a Spanish international, played for City, played for Barca. People would say he's been a flop. Don says Ferran Torres is better than Jesus. Not for me. Not for me. Torres has IQ. Probably intelligent player to play for Pep. Mudryk's in the chat. I knew this account would turn up. Curtis, I'm going to start a GoFundMe page. It's cold outside the Emirates in a tent. Oh, dear. Do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if it was the real one. Come on, he said, facts, Curtis, that plain canvas analogy is spot on. You know how it goes. When you sign a player with that, the expectation was like, okay, Ramsdale came from the Championship. He had an opportunity to build themselves. It was a blank piece of paper. This guy's already got pen mark on the page, man. City have ditched him. Now Barca are ditching him. You know what I mean? I don't want him. I don't want him. I'd rather have, give me Fernando Torres from 10 years ago. I don't want Ferran Torres. But we're going to have to seek alternatives if we don't get Mudryk in. And that's the reality. Man said Ferran Torres is the Scalacci of wingers, said SG. Tehran said, I don't need to link up with a few Jamaicans to help him negotiate the deal. We can't get that done for Farino, Torino, Ferran Torres, Ferran Torres. I don't know what's going on there, Ivan. You've thrown me there. Get CR7 for 6 months. Get Depay and Zaha. Start a rap crew. Oh, you gone mad there, bro. Zaha don't rap. Depay, he likes a rap tune. Ahmed said, Big C, people criticise Rams for getting relegated twice. Ramsdale, you mean? Look at him now. Let's get behind Arteta. He knows what he's doing. Torres would bang. Listen, I get you, Ahmed, right? But we've still got to kind of look at each signing subjectively in the sense that getting behind Arteta is fine. We're all supporting Mikel Arteta, of course. But at the same time, not every signing has banged that we've signed. We signed Willian. We signed Renarson. We signed Cedric. We signed Pablo Mari. So we've still got to be careful. We can't afford to make £45 million mistakes at Arsenal. We made a £72 million mistake with Nicolas Pepe. Was that because he's not good enough? Was that because he had the wrong mentality? Was that because he doesn't suit the Prem and the style of Arteta? Who knows? But collectively, that deal flopped. Now, Arteta didn't sign him, of course. It was Emery, but we weren't able to get anything out of him, really. Had his best spell, actually, under Emery in terms of goals to game. So we have to be very careful. Now we have a style of football. Jurgen Klopp, for me, is the master of it. Signing players that fit his system. Pep does it as well, equally well. Players like Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, they just fit that team. And Klopp's done it. He signed players like Robertson from the Championship. You're now talking about the top assist-getting defender of all time in the Premier League. And you look at what he's done with Mane and the levels he's taken them to. We need to get these transfers right if we're going to get over the finish line. Over 3,000 of you in the chat. Absolutely incredible numbers for a Thursday afternoon. Really appreciate your support as always. We'll be doing a watch-along, of course, against Brighton on New Year's Eve. They better not ruin our New Year's Eve. Barman said, best community, Big C. Really appreciate it, bro. Big up my brother. Franny in the chat. Hope you're well, bro. Keep doing your thing. Make sure you go and follow his crypto page as well if you want any advice around that. He knows what he's talking about as well, people. Big up yourself, Fran, and we'll have to get a collab sorted soon. Let's see what we're saying. Daniel said, hear me out, Big C, Leroy Sané. Leroy Sané would be an exciting signing. I just don't think Bayern are going to sell him mid-season. They're trying to win the Champions League. I think that would be a summer transfer more than January. But I do like Leroy Sané. Clement said, give me Zaha over Ferran all day long for me. All day long. And this is what I keep saying and reverting to, is that I think we need to sign a player that makes an instant impact. We don't have time to sign someone now that in 6 months is going to become something. This is the biggest opportunity Arsenal have had since 15-16 when Leicester won the title, right? The reason Leicester won that title ahead of Arsenal is because when Arsenal had the opportunity to get one up on Leicester, we sat there and didn't do it. I remember that January, clear as day, everyone was saying, you need a striker, need a striker. Giroud's good, but he won't win you the title. They sat there, they didn't sign, they relied on Welbeck and Giroud. Giroud went 15 games without scoring. Danny Welbeck got injured. I was there, Valentine's Day. Welbeck header, you remember it. Leicester at home, Mesut Ozil free kick. We left the ground, we said we're going to win the league. Giroud went 15 without scoring and we flopped it. This is the biggest opportunity we've had to win the title for 7 years and beyond that as well. 2 big signings. Hope that Man City keep one eye on that Champions League and don't fully concentrate on the Prem, and possibly we nick it from them. Now, at the same time, if City are absolutely on fire and they finish above us, there's nothing we can do about that, and we can all accept that. If we perform to our maximum and Man City finish above us, there's nothing we can do about that. They've got an absolute monster up front who's probably going to score 40 goals this season. So if they finish above us and we do everything we can accept that if we finish second. But go for it. Go and try and win that title. The Cronkes are winning trophies with their other companies, their other sporting projects. It's about time they put some effort into this one. and went for it a little bit. We know he famously said he never bought Arsenal to win trophies. He needs to prove the fans wrong and try and get us back on side. And the way to do that is by going for it. So it's going to be interesting what happens in this window if they really back Mikel Arteta. Because Mikel Arteta is talking in a way as if to say, listen, I need to be backed. If these guys want me to achieve something major, you're going to have to back me properly in this window. So we're going to see with that one. And it'll be interesting to see. Let's see some of your comments, see what you're saying about everything, what's going on. Jamaican Gunner, we also got Europa League. We don't want players, we need players, or we will fail. Do you know what's going to be interesting? If we get to the latter stages of the Europa League, which I expect us to do, whether Arsenal have to get to a point where they prioritise one of the two competitions over the other. Because I'm still looking at the moment thinking, have we got the squad to try and push Manchester City all the way and beyond, and also really challenge for this Europa League? Because I think when you get to the latter stages, sometimes if your squad's not strong enough, you almost have to let one of them go a little bit, which is a shame because ideally we would love to obviously win the Europa League and win the title. But do we have the squad to deal with both? 15-16 was a proper bottle job. Yeah, listen, build from a position of power. We've had too many Januaries where we've signed players because we're desperate. We're struggling and we're trying to get someone in and we end up panic buying a Dennis Suarez, a Kim Kallstrom, a Pablo Mari, players that have come in and had zero impact. Dre said, I just copped the red pullover. Bro, listen, I know what I said because I was there when I said it. Yeah, Cronke out, don't buy the merch. But damn. Nice soft material, cherry red, old school cannon on it as well. Jeez. And it's a decent price. Good price, people. Good price. So, yeah, man. I'm not that I'm promoting them, but it's a nice one. It's a nice one. I can't lie. Big up LV. Thank you for the super chat. Said Zaha, no brainer. Mudder's got so much to prove. Fraudulent price tag. Will continue to undermine AF in the transfer market. Buy clubs, zero or no adjustment, get him boots and he's on it at any back four like he's been doing for time. Yeah, listen, as I said, the only reason I don't talk about Zaha is because I just don't think there's any real link from him to Arsenal. It's more wishful thinking from me to say that I would love us to sign Zaha. You know, I remember I got bashed a lot of the time on here about Marcus Rashford. I'm telling you, I said for a long time I would take Rashford at Arsenal, and he's having a very good season at the moment. But yeah, I don't think we're interested in any of those two, unfortunately. But big up to LV. Anthony said, good price, people, good price. Zaha is old news. Jude Bellingham is set to choose Real Madrid over Liverpool. Nice that you can have them type of, conversations in it to pick those players. Couple more stories before we round up, people. What have we got now? So, couple more bits. One is surrounding the Cronkes, which is always interesting to get a discussion and get your opinions on this. And David Ornstein, the Cronkes were actually at the Emirates on Boxing Day, which was, listen, I'm never going to totally backtrack on these, right? I'm never going to totally backtrack because I believe what they've done is milk this football club for a long time. But at the same time, I think over the last couple of years, they've backed this manager, and I can't deny that. And if they back him in this January, I think it's a massive step in the right direction. I think seeing Stan and Josh at the Emirates is important. If you're the owner of a football club, be present, be visible. Look how many times you used to watch Chelsea and Roman Abramovich was sitting there applauding. You don't have to love the football club, but make it look like we're important to you. They were there. Wenger was there. Henry was there. They were there. He's got a long way to go. He's got a long way to go. I think the reason that the Cronke's mentality has changed a little bit is because Josh is running the club. I think when Stan was running the club, it meant nothing to him. It was just a moneymaker. I think Josh you know what it's like. He's been given something by his dad, and he wants to prove his daddy's toy, innit? You know, he wants to prove that he can make it work. And I do think that Josh has a little bit more of a point to prove. And it doesn't necessarily mean he loves Arsenal. He just wants to prove to daddy that, look what I did with Arsenal, dad. I won the league, you know. And listen, if that's your reason, cool, if we benefit from it. But the story that is running is that Arsenal are back. The Cronkes are back in Arsenal to go and get that title. So let's see what they do in the market. I mean, listen, it's coming from Ornstein, and it's a throwaway comment. I'm not going to sit here and start jumping around. Oh my God, the Cronkes want the title. All right, cool. Let's see what you do in January then. Because I tell you what, if I don't see a couple of big signings in January after they've apparently said this, then it means absolutely nothing, and I'm done with them. I'm finished. I'll be Cronke out full time. But if they back him, I won't be fans of them because I'm not. But I'll at least give them some credit where credit's due and say, listen, you have changed your attitude. You are looking like you are trying to progress with the club. They stuck by Arteta when people like me were saying, bin him. They've backed him. They've given him the new contract. They've given him over 300 million in the last 2.5 years, which I can't deny is good backing. We need to go and spend close to 100 million in this window for me. I think Arsenal need a mini summer transfer window in this January window. Otherwise, we're not going to overcome City. The reality is, Manchester City is a machine. It's not easy to beat Manchester City. We've seen Liverpool get 90 points and finish second. They're the levels you need to get to beat this machine, and they've got a robot up front. Arsenal get 2 players in of high quality that puts people on the back foot, that gives us another dimension. Because the one thing we're lacking at the moment, is a game changer off the bench. If our starting 11 doesn't win us the game, I don't look at the bench and think, okay, if we was playing Man City, if we was playing Liverpool, if we was playing, Manchester United at Old Trafford, who comes off the bench at 1-1 and wins us that game? Marquinhos. Listen, I'm not disrespecting these guys. They're just not at that level yet. Now, we do have to look at it and say, okay, no Smith Rowe. Zinchenko's only just come back. Nelson's out. Jesus is out. Tomiyasu was back in training this morning, by the way, which is a positive. But we don't have a game changer. And I think a lot of teams around us have got game changers. Manchester City yesterday brought on Cancelo, and I think, was it Gundogan came on? They still haven't got Alvarez. They had Kyle Walker on the bench. It's just like the levels are sky high. If they're drawing a game 1-1, they're going to bring on Alvarez, Gundogan. Phil Foden came on, sorry. They're the levels. Now, we can't compete with that, but we need game changers. Get Smith Rowe fit. Get Fabio Vieira balling. Get Jesus back. Get in a Mudryk. Get in a midfielder or a João Felix. And then you don't win titles with teams. The exception to the rule is probably Leicester. Leicester, for some reason that year, Kante, Mahrez, Vardy, they never got injured. They beat everyone. It was like a cheat code. But apart from that, we've never seen that happen. You have to have a squad. When we get to the latter stages of the Europa League, FA Cup, Premier League, big games, you're going to need a squad. You're going to need to be able to rotate. And like, no disrespect. I'm just keeping it 100. El Nenny's not going to replace Thomas Partey. Eddie's still trying to find his feet and figure out where he's at as a goal scorer, but he's not going to win as a title. We're just being realistic. Haaland's going to score 40 goals. Alvarez is probably a 70, 80 million pound striker now. He's just won the World Cup. Just give that squad a boost. And I think we've got an opportunity, Rodney said, Curtis, big worry about the midfielder. Look what happened last season. When Partey was injured, I thought it was imperative we get top quality, no number 6 cover for Partey. It's a worry because there are a lot of reports saying that now El Nenny's fit, there's no real rush to sign a midfielder. That concerns me. Like you said, when Partey's out, this midfield ain't the same. Even Granit Xhaka's not the same. A lot of Granit Xhaka's form this season, I think, is down to El Neni as well. Gunnar Roller said, thank you for the super chat, said Felix is the most impactful deal to do this window. What you hear a lot of the time is that January is a bad window. You can't bring real quality in. No one wants to sell their best players. All they're getting rid of is fringe players. I think for a Premier League club to be able to get João Felix on loan, a player that cost £110 million, I don't think you can turn that down. I just don't. I don't think you can turn that down. The deal has to look right for you, right? You've got to have an option to buy. You've got to maybe get the valuation down a little bit of the loan deal. If I was Arteta, I would be seriously saying to Edu, listen, if you can get those numbers to look right, get João Felix to the carpet. That is not a deal you can turn your nose up at. It's not often you can get a player of that level in January and get him on loan. I would be all over that João Felix deal. Yep, definitely we're going to do a C-Unit get-together in the new year. What I would like to do is hire out a venue. I don't just want it to be a sit-down on stage reel, like, you know, stand-up, everyone smart. I want, you know, vibes, music playing, people mix, have conversation, Arsenal, try and get a couple guests, Kevin Campbell, get Robbie there, get Fran down, and just interact, you know, definitely going to get that done in the new year. I think it'd be good to get together and talk, especially while things are good with Arsenal as well, you know. Sambi is a Europa League player. I mean, if that, I'm not even going to lie, Europa League, I've got Barcelona, Manchester United, Juventus. I don't think you win the Europa League with Sambi in your team. So is he even a Europa League player? He can play in the Europa League. I don't think he'll win you the. Yeah, man, we'll have some Beres and some Sizzler playing in the background. Why not, man? Cone Man music get together. Nothing but Beres playing. A couple more stories, then we'll get out of here, people. So as we know, the man, the myth, the legend, Arsene Wenger was back at the Emirates on Boxing Day. That I thought was absolutely incredible to see. I can't lie. It really, I don't know, it just brought it all flooding back. Picture there with him and Saka. But apparently now Arsenal have plans in place for an Arsene Wenger statue to be built in early 2023 that I think is absolutely 100% deserved. A lot of people in the comments were saying the other day, it sparked a lot of debate about Wenger. When we spoke on the last stream, I was saying that Wenger for me is an icon, probably the best Arsenal manager I've ever seen. He deserves a statue. I'm still more than aware of the fact that Wenger had issues at the end. He stayed on years too long. He was signing mediocre players. He was too involved with the Cronkes. I don't want to pretend everything was rosy in the garden because it wasn't. But also, I think it's important to be respectful for how great this guy was. He changed football in this country. He created, in my opinion, the greatest footballer that Arsenal have ever produced in Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry was a fast left winger. He turned him into arguably at times the world's best striker. So for me, yeah, listen, we know that Wenger had issues towards the end, and I don't want people to think I was just acting like nothing ever went wrong. But let's not never take away from this guy what he was. You're talking about one of the best managers we've probably ever seen. And a real gentleman as well, conducted himself properly, represented this football club properly. And as I said, most of us growing up, man, I don't care. Wenger was a second dad, man. If you was an Arsenal fan, Wenger was like a second dad. Uncle Wenger, man. So, yeah, man. And he's running FIFA now as well, which I think is only right. So, personally, get that statue built. Some people say name a stand after him as well. Give him his contribution, man. He deserves all of it. He should probably be Sir Arsene Wenger, to be honest. But, you know, it is what it is, innit? But Wenger, statue on the way. And I can't wait to see that. He deserves it. My first game was live in Orlando. I came in with a spray of Judge. We're winning this year. City on the back seat. Razor sharp. Yo, man sprayed that magic on Arsenal, man. It's all mad. Broad said he meant well, though, no matter what. He was always acting in our best interest. Yeah, I think so. I just think he turned into that stage where he felt he could fix it. And it's like the more he tried to fix it, he almost made it worse. But yeah, Wenger's an icon of Arsenal, man. Omid said, as a Madrid fan, I have massive respect for this guy. My dad is an Arsenal fan, and he loved Wenger until the madness started. Yeah, man. It was a shame. Sanchez in the gold kit destroyed Leicester. Damn, that season, man, Alexis was monster. Absolute monster. Does Vieira deserve a statue? Possibly. He was the leader. So I always say if Vieira did as much for Arsenal as Bergkamp, I think, and Bergkamp got a statue, so yeah, you could argue a few. Ian Wright as well, possibly. The statue should be gold, yeah. Yeah. What's this one? This comment's been in a lot. Assassin said, George Weah, after my Ballon d'Or 1997, I received plenty of abuse from other people saying it was rigged. Wenger was the first to call me and congratulate me. He's a man of wisdom and respect. That brother's an icon, man. He's an icon. Signed Anelka for $500,000, sold him for 22 million, bought Henry in a new training ground. I mean, listen. That guy there. Righty and Rocky as well, yeah. Vieira, Righty, Rocky, and Wenger. I think those are the ones you could really talk about as potential statues, you know. I ended the poll, by the way. 82% of you don't want Ferran Torres, which I don't blame you on that one. 18% of you do. Before we finish, give Sambi a statue. Mate, he's a statue every time he plays for Arsenal. So we've already seen the Sambi statue in the middle of the park not moving. This one, to come to fruition. Again, apparently the source isn't great. Arsenal have inquired about, is it Moses or Moises Caicedo from Brighton? A lot of reports today, though, are linking him to Liverpool. I mean, I'm not going to... And this is what I talk about, right? When I talk about Arsenal, and are you really about that life, right? Curtis Shaw statue, surely. Listen, I will shout you, Ash, for the venue as well when we do the get-together. Liverpool are starting to get their act together. And you're talking about Gakpo and Caicedo in a window in January. That tells me you're a serious club when you pull that out the bag. They're the kind of levels I want to see at Arsenal. I think Caicedo is a brilliant player. 21 years of age. He's been a revelation. And obviously we're going to see him on New Year's Eve. People, he earns £3,500 a week. And I know... Listen, in regular working terms, £3,500 a week, we would be rich. But in Premier League terms, apparently he was on less than £1,000 a week at his previous club. So they gave him more than triple his previous wages. He played for a team called Scott in the Belgium Pro League. Apparently he earned around €1,000 a week, which is about £900. They gave him 3,500. I mean, on it, that is literally less than Gunnosaurus. I'm telling you, Gunnosaurus getting more than that. The tea lady's probably getting more than that. I mean, how much do you need to give him to come to Arsenal? You give him 35 grand a week. He's getting 10 times his current wages. I mean, I think he's been a revelation there. And listen, man, he's going to want to leave, innit? Let's be real. If Arsenal turned up with 30, 40, 50 grand a week, he's going to be going crazy. How is he picking up 3.5k and no new deal? He's got 3.5 years left, so Brighton are chilling. There's no rush. LSU Gunner, thank you for becoming a member. We're going to do a member stream next week, first week of the year. Let's do a member stream, talk about where we're at, what transfers we want. So next week, member stream definitely on the way, people. Eddie's pocket change, I'm telling you. King Henry, Moises Caicedo to Chelsea is one to watch. There's a real sense from multiple sources. Chelsea may move Graham Potter when still at Brighton. Joke 42 million would only get his boots. They would want around 70 to 75. Robbie Lyle earns more than Caicedo. No cap, people. But yeah, 3.5k a week is crazy. I would personally love to see him come to Arsenal, but I just think the deal would be quite expensive. But I think Brighton will make it difficult. for Graham Potter to come back and sign anyone. And the rumour was that McAllister was the one that he wanted before Caicedo. So maybe that's the one that they will go for. But if Arsenal are in for him, I would be happy with that one. Josh Shaw said, big up Curtis, controversial opinion. Vieira was more influential than Henry. Henry won nothing at Arsenal without him. I think it's a difficult one that to debate because, listen, Henry is my favourite ever Arsenal player, so I'm never going to put anybody above him. But I think that it's fair to say that Vieira was the glue that brought it all together. The midfield monster, the engine. You need the engine in the car to work for the rest of it to happen properly, and I think that Vieira was the glue. So I understand your point, but I can't agree at the same time because Thierry was the magic. Thierry was the absolute magic that just, I don't know. I think he made us invincible. I don't think we were invincible without Thierry. So, Josh, I mean, you've been in the community a strong part for a long time. I'm tempted to give you 3 minutes on the naughty step. I really am. But I think you're going to need to consider your actions. Vieira, listen, Vieira, we love you, Paddy. Yeah, you're a legend, you're an icon. You're the glue that brought it all together. But Thierry, it's one of them, like, I respect you totally for your opinion, and I even understand your point, but it's completely wrong. It's completely wrong. Allow him 6 million. You could go with him as well. There's room on that naughty step. There's no one above Thierry at Arsenal, in my opinion. King Henry, people. The king. But I understand your point. Caicedo, is he suspended for the game against Arsenal? I honestly didn't know that. I saw that Danny Welbeck is out for the game against Arsenal with an injury. I think he's done a Fabianski there. He's got his Arsenal pyjamas on and thrown one in. Yeah, Caicedo is suspended for the game against Arsenal. An interesting point, right, that I've just seen, that a lot of people have been messaging about that I've seen, is that William Saliba is now one booking away from a suspension, which he will miss one game. Now, the interesting thing, Arsenal play Brighton. We then play Oxford in the FA Cup. We then play Newcastle. If I'm Saliba, Premier League suspensions count in the FA Cup. Get a yellow card late in the game against Brighton. Miss the game against Oxford. Come back for the game against Newcastle fresh. What you don't want him to do is get a yellow card against Oxford if you play him in that game, and then he's suspended for Newcastle. Even if you don't get him suspended for Newcastle, a yellow card against them, he misses Manchester United. A yellow card against Manchester United, he misses Tottenham in the North London derby. I would literally say to him, swear at the referee with a minute to go and get a yellow card. Just hope the ref don't send you off. That's a free match ban. But honestly, kick the ball away, throw the ball away, do something, get a yellow card in the last couple minutes of that game and get suspended for that Brighton game, for the Oxford game. I think Mourinho did it years ago. I forget who it was. Was it Xabi Alonso or Ramos? A player got booked intentionally to miss the next game. Honestly, no joke. He should be getting a yellow card in that game. 100%. There's no way I'm letting him play and get suspended and he misses like the North London derby. He's got to be careful with that. The final story that dark art settings, man. The final story that I want to bring on is, it's a wild one, and I don't think it's going to happen, but it's there. We'll report it just in case. I'm almost saying it with one eye closed because you're all going to be like, what? But according to Football 365, Arsenal are interested in Karim Benzema. I mean, I remember being linked with this guy about 7-8 years ago when Wenger was trying to get him, but I don't see why Real Madrid would sell him, but I'm bringing it up purely in case it happens. I don't think there's any chance of it happening. This is what you call the most wild story of the day, but it says, Arsenal are admirers of Benzema and could start contact with him and his agent in January. Arteta is ready to make an interesting proposal. I mean, people, it's one of them, and they've got to fill newspapers. It's cap. It's definitely cap City. It's not going to happen. He's got 6 months left on his deal, so he could leave in the summer. There's no way Real Madrid are selling him mid-season. So, yeah, my apologies. It could be worth a 3-minute timeout for myself. Jashar, make room on the step, mate. 3 minutes out of it. People, thank you very much for tuning in today. I've been on for, an hour and 23 minutes. Great show. Really appreciate the interaction. We had 3,000 in at one point. And I'll be back tomorrow. We will preview the Brighton game in more detail. And look at the team news and how we're going to set up, and it'll be press conference reaction from Mikel Arteta as well. So enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you all tomorrow. We'll be on probably about 4 o'clock again tomorrow, and looking ahead to the Brighton game on New Year's Eve. Take care, everyone. Bless.